Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Bears on Tap, a podcast about the Chicago Bears presented to you by On Tap Sportsnet. I'm your host, Brandon Suarez. You can follow me on Twitter at BDown300, and you can follow my co-host, Joey, at Joey Knows Nothing, as well as Quentin at Butkus Stats. The Bears played a football game today. We'll always have the first quarter. Trevor Siemian looked like fucking Dan Marino out there in the first quarter, which it didn't happen in any other quarter. And the Bears lose this one 31-10. The defense simply is the worst defensive unit that many of us as Bears fans have seen in our life. And I'm willing to say it's the worst defensive unit in the NFL currently. But aside from that, boys, we have a lot to get into because a lot of other shit happened today. But what's up with you guys?
Well, let me just crack a victory beer real fast. Because it feels like a win to a lot of people because we're closer in the draft process. We're going to get a higher pick. But to me, it doesn't feel that way because you lost two players with big injuries today, and you were already down three of your main players. The defense obviously was going to struggle when you're missing guys in the secondary like you were, and then Eddie Jackson goes out pretty early, it seemed like. Tough one, man. Tough one. You said they played a game today. I don't know. I'm not sure they played a game after that first quarter. Like, I don't know what that was. It was disgusting.
Yeah. Count me in as one of those who sees it as a victory because we're, riding that tank train. And it's hard to take that outlook. Like, watching this game was brutal. It hurt to watch. It always hurts to watch the Bears lose. But the injury front really sucks. I'm glad it's sounding like Eddie Jackson got out without something that's going to leak into next season, which was really my concern when I saw it, that he just tore his Achilles and he's going to be out for 13 months or something. It might not be the same player when he comes back. The early diagnosis is that it's not anything that ugly. We'll see. Obviously, we don't know yet. We just have a general idea. And then Mooney's, I haven't seen any early returns on yet. You hope it's something that, like I said with Eddie, won't leak into next season. Because that's really what it's all about at this point for me is, get these guys a good, strong off season and bring back your horses like Eddie and Mooney and add more to it. But I'm starting to feel draft season come on and starting to get a little excited about that personally.
Yeah, and I know you weren't on the pregame with us, but we talked about it, man. We said MetLife is on record as the worst field in the NFL. Players absolutely hate playing there. We see it every fucking year where star players go up to play the Jets or the Giants. And the worst part is in the NFL is that both the teams play there. So, you're thinking maybe we'll get away with only having 8 games here. No, you have 16 every year, maybe sometimes 17. I know the Giants and Jets sometimes play those European games or whatever. But correct me if I'm wrong. Is MetLife an insurance company?
Yeah.
This is a Ponzi scheme. I need to find out. I need to find out what company the NFL's insurance is run through. Because if I find out that the NFL's players' insurance is run through MetLife and they have a field under that name with that shitty of a playing surface, I don't know if I use maybe a pyramid scheme, Ponzi scheme. It is some
propaganda.
Some form of scheme where, as I watch this is a different field, so I got an NFL game on right now. Someone's getting carted off. But listen, the players deserve better, a better playing surface, especially for one of your stadiums that 2 teams share as a home. It is ridiculous. The Eddie Jackson play was hard to watch. I was very mad that they showed the replay. I shouldn't be this angry during this game because, honestly, I've mentally checked out. I tune in for the games. I hope Fields does well. I want us to win. But these wins and loss, a win might feel like the goddamn Super Bowl, but we don't know what that feels like anymore because we haven't won in so long. But the losses aren't as hurtful as they have been in years past where it's we know we're fighting for something. We know guys are fighting for their jobs. First year in a new regime, a lot of new players. A lot of these players won't be back. But it was ugly, man. It was an ugly game, and you lose arguably your best player that we have left on the defensive side of the ball, and you lose your most explosive wide receiver that you have on the offensive side of the ball. And at this point, we're starting to reach the point of the season where it's now business decisions. people are going to start making business. These weren't even like opportunities where they had a chance to make a business decision. They just got hurt because it's a shitty playing surface. I don't even want to see I don't want to see Fields play again for the rest of the year, to be honest.
I'm so glad that he didn't play now after seeing those 2 injuries, and we already didn't want him to play like coming into this game, but it was kind of weird that they announced it so late. But I mean, I guess I understand the gamesmanship part of it and not wanting to give anything away. Completely different style of offense that Getsy wants to run when Simeon or Peterman are in there compared to Fields. So I kind of understand that from that aspect of things. But man, just I can't stand it, dude. Like, we talk all the time about Soldier Field being a terrible surface and the city not helping out in regards to that or whatever. And just get out of there, go to Arlington Heights, and the whole conversation that we've had all basically before the season even. But this is horrible. Like, what they have going on in the Meadowlands is absolutely terrible too. So just feels like healthy players go there to get hurt. Like, that's what you do. You just go there to get hurt, and you might escape with a win. Obviously, the Bears had no chance in this game. We got up for the letdown, I feel like, a little bit in that first quarter.
The way they were moving the ball in that first quarter, I was like, okay, like they don't know what they're looking at with Simeon because he hasn't played since last year. So,
yeah, and he was getting the ball out pretty fast, man. Like, he was finding guys underneath. He was getting the ball out pretty quickly. Obviously, Byron Pringle had a really nice catch there for the touchdown, which, holy shit, I kind of forgot he was even on the roster. So where's that been? I mean, I know he hasn't been playing much this season, but very nice catch there.
I think one of the things that you could see with Simeon I think it's fair to say that Fields isn't better than him at every aspect of the game, because one guy's started a bunch of games in the NFL, been around for 5 years, and has more seasoning, and the other's a young athlete who's trying to learn the passing game in the NFL better. And one thing that you saw with Simeon was just kind of throwing it up and giving him his guys chances. That's not something that I think Fields is quite at the point of yet, where the deep ball to Claypool, that was a contested catch that he made. The one to Pringle was like an interceptable pass that Pringle made a play on. It's that almost Simeon needs to trust his receivers to have any success. Fields doesn't, and it's kind of a crutch that Fields has, and I think he's going to get better at. I think he's already gotten better at and will continue to get better with not needing a guy to be that open to say, I'm going to throw this and he's going to make the catch. And it's also a thing that comes with, better receivers become easier to trust. But Simeon's a guy who he just needs to trust him no matter who they are. Otherwise, he won't move the football. And the turf, man, first of all, I don't understand why the Meadowlands has turf. It's an outdoor stadium. What are you doing here? Turf is so much more dangerous on injuries. The numbers all point to it. It's pretty clear that as far as ligaments go, turf is much more strenuous on the body. I was texting with my buddy who's a physical trainer, physical therapist during the game, and he was saying, yeah, the turf, it doesn't give like grass does. So when you cut hard and the turf doesn't give, one of your joints gives.
Yeah,
And
Jesus.
that's it's honestly something I want to I'm thinking about with the new stadium the Bears are building. It's supposed to be a dome indoors. I would love for them to find a way to do something like Arizona did, where they have real grass indoors, but I don't think that's doable with the seasons in Chicago. I'm interested to see what they do there, because every time the Bears play on turf, I'm holding my breath that a guy like Tariq Cohen isn't going to have a career-ending injury.
Yeah, and I think too, if you look at the way the team performs on grass and on turf, there really is no difference. Maybe you're a little bit faster on turf, but for the Bears, the way we play, we're not a team that really beats you with speed. We're more a finesse team. Maybe it gives Montgomery a little bit more oomph, but we get laughed at by other countries for even having turf anywhere associated with our sports. So, I mean, it's the proof is in the pudding. I'd be interested to see the numbers by stadium, which players are injured at, because MetLife is by far gotta be top of the list. But another thing,
MetLife and Atlanta are both up there, I think.
Falcons, yeah.
And
Well,
Atlanta has great turf.
The Falcons
you know?
are
Like,
just,
it's just
the Falcons are the voodoo team of the NFL. Everything associated with that franchise is voodoo. Oh wow, the Bucks just got walked off by the Browns. Terrible.
Wow.
Before the game, though, let's talk about before the game, because before the game, Jay Glazer tweeted that it was looking like it was going to be Peterman because it looked like Simeon strained his oblique or whatever may have happened. But I just think that, like, just looking at this situation for what it is right now, maybe you pick up a practice squad quarterback. Let's shut Justin Fields down for the rest of the year. Like, what is the point of playing any of our guys like the Moonies, the Jacksons, the Johnsons? We just lost two of the aforementioned players, and the other one we didn't lose because he wasn't playing today. So, like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, I don't want to see Jalen Johnson get hurt. Like that's like the next. I mean, anybody really.
I don't want to see anybody get hurt.
I don't want to see anybody get hurt. But like, it's terrifying, man, when you see an injury like that to a key contributor on defense. And I know people are, the contract with Eddie Jackson. Maybe you can have some qualms about how he's performed over the last few years or whatever, which I don't think is like that's so overblown in my opinion. Anyways, this year he's been a legit guy in that secondary. He almost had an interception before he got hurt too, which, okay, you could say maybe you should have caught that ball, but dude, he's breaking on the ball. He's making plays all over the place in the secondary. He's like a stopper back there. So the secondary is completely depleted without him, without Brisker and Gordon and, Kendall Vildor, dude. Like, I'm sorry, but like he was getting cooked, completely cooked. Jones, I don't know what Jones does on the roster. Like, I don't know what he does out there when he's out there. And maybe I need to watch closer.
I saw your tweet and started cracking the fuck up when I saw that.
Dude, I'm serious though. Like, it's bad. Like, watching this secondary without the main guys that you need out there, it's god awful. And that's why I kind of presented the question on Twitter was like, would the Jets have been like, are they, and not necessarily like saying that they are dumb, because they're fighting for the playoffs. They just won this game. Now they're 7 wins now in the season.
7-4.
7-4. So
yeah.
I mean, that defense is legit. It's ready to win. But like, I kind of posed the question of like, could this have been a confidence booster for Zach Wilson, even though he made the comments in the presser after the game, the last game they played, and basically was like, no, it wasn't. I don't feel bad for letting the defense down. Whatever the question exactly was that was presented to him, the way he answered it was like, and I think later on he realized like, I didn't mean to answer it that way, but too little too late.
He made himself look like the jag-off for sure.
Oh, absolutely. But I thought like thinking this through, like the Bears, no Roquan Smith, no Robert Quinn, which we haven't had those guys for a while now. Sanborn looks pretty legit in the middle, but still, you're not getting any pass rush. I think Watts had his first sack of the season today. Like, holy fuck. So you're not getting any pass rush. The secondary's god awful. And I was thinking, like, maybe this is a chance where the Jets could have boosted his confidence a little bit by playing well, because he hasn't faced the best competition, or he's faced, before the Bears, the defenses that the Jets have faced have been pretty damn good. Like, 2 out of the last 3 weeks, he's faced the Pats. I'm trying to think of who the other opponent was that was sandwiched in between there, but the Bears were a layup. Like Mike White, those guys were all wide open, and we could sit here and be like, Mike White just played fantastic. Did he though? Like, he hit the guys that he needed to hit when they're wide open. All credit to him for making the plays that he needed to make and that was presented to him. And probably reading a defense comes a lot easier to him than Zach Wilson at this point. He probably has better fundamentals than Zach Wilson at this point. But like long term, like, is this short-sighted on the Jets' part for playing Mike White in this situation? I don't know.
I'll give you my take on that. I think the Jets are done with Zach Wilson. I think they are just toss him out, throw him to the curb. They're moving on. I do not think they wanted him to have his confidence boosted in this game. I do not think they wanted their fan base's confidence in him to be boosted from this game. I think they looked at the Bears defense, said, any one of our backups or starters is going to put up points in this game, and they're going to get that momentum from the fan base, from the PR of it. The look at what this guy did today, and we cannot bench a guy who has that behind him. We can bench him before he gets there. And I personally think it's the right decision. I mean, I'm not in the locker room, but I think they made a very clear statement about how they feel Zach Wilson puts in effort, how they feel about his progression as a quarterback. I mean, you need to be showing improvement somewhere, you know? I don't think Zach Wilson has shown improvement from year 1 to year 2. I think he's shown to be the same guy, and it's a fast league. It passes you up like that, you know? And I think his chance there in New York is pretty much done. I mean, now, granted, that can change. Mike White gets injured. He comes in and is a new man, completely motivated and like putting in all the work. And not that I don't know that he's not, but what the Jets did today make it seem a lot like he's not. And I mean, there's rumors out there about how split the Jets scouts and coaches were on that pick, that someone higher up just said, no, this is who we're taking. And it was the only guy they looked at, that it was just like, that's the guy, and we're going with him. And I don't think the organization was, full steam ahead on him. I think someone high up said, I'm full steam ahead on him. And this is what you get sometimes when that's the case.
I mean, dude, he was drafted ahead of Justin Fields, like
number 2 overall.
How different? I mean, ahead of Trey Lance, like ahead of Mac Jones.
You have to look at it like this, though, too, right?
And I'm not even a Zach Wilson guy, by the way. I was just kind of walking through this.
Do you know what the biggest game of his career was going into his NFL career?
BYU?
What was it? Coastal Carolina.
And he got absolutely dragged across the fucking floor.
I remember watching that game.
This is a guy.
Oh, that was awful.
Yeah,
that was awful.
This is a guy that had no real pressure situations while he was at BYU, because BYU is an independent. So they pick who they play. They don't have to play the same teams every year, but sometimes they end up doing it. A lot of times in college, you see, we talk about like the Alabama or the OSU effect, right? Where, you look at a guy's highlight tape and all he's doing is throwing to receivers that are 30, 40, 50 yards wide open. The same thing was happening with Zach Wilson. And like you said, NFL GMs get bamboozled with how you look in shorts and how you look on your fucking pro day. This kid from the jump, he has an electric arm. But you have to remember, there are people that were comparing this man to Patrick fucking Mahomes when he was coming out, just simply based off the fact that he had a cannon for an arm. But we have yet to see that here in his NFL career. And not only is he, I was about to say the M word, not only is he a short human being, he's short in the head. He's a mental midget. He does not have it between the ears as an NFL quarterback. He's not a leader. And yeah, I don't know. I'm glad that we fortunately dodged a bullet with even having to deal with Zach Wilson. And I'm very happy with our situation with Justin Fields. But yeah, I'm sorry this hasn't turned into much of a game recap, but like this was
it's a part of it though.
The sickest fucking Bears game I have ever watched, where you start with some momentum, you look like you may play a little bit. The defense even had a couple stops in the first half. But one thing, and we'll transition back into the game, I was sitting there at halftime, and I'm like, you know what? Trevor Siemian was never pressured. There was never like a hand in his face or really anything too crazy going on in the first half. Second half starts, that man was getting absolutely eviscerated, and we had no answer for it. And I think one thing they talked about, too, on the broadcast that's important to mention is without Fields in, we talked about a little bit in the pregame, too, you're losing a lot of your rushing yards. You don't account when you have a guy like that, that's probably 50% of the carries on the season is out. And Trevor Siemian, he may have tried to leave the pocket like once or twice. I'm confident that any three of us could, catch him getting out of the pocket and take him down for a tackle. But, yeah, this was a game that we were going to have to try and shorten and play like bully ball. But the problem is there's nobody on our defense that's a bully. So,
bro, Mike White just threw for over 300 yards against your team. And I'm not even like –
I told you not to sleep on Mike White, man.
I'm not even trying to talk
White's
shit about
God,
Mike
man.
White.
That's
But,
the
like,
dude.
That's why I brought up this whole conversation to Zach Wilson, because I'm not convinced that Mike White is who we saw today, because he had that performance like last year, against the Bengals, right? Was that his first game of his career, I think, starting?
Yeah, and then he was solid for the next game, and then the next game, and then awful in like his fourth game.
So I feel like you get like a little tape on him, you get him out there like preparing for Mike White and obviously what they're doing with him. I think you can stop him, obviously. We're just beat on, you say it every week. The Jimmies and Joes.
We don't have them. We really don't.
There's no Jimmy, there's no Joe, there's no Jimmy, there's no.
I think the Jets have some of the better weapons of any team in the NFL. Garrett Wilson's a monster. Corey Davis is about as good as you get as a number 2 receiver. And Elijah Moore is a guy who has been outstanding when he doesn't have Zach Wilson throwing him the football.
You just need a quarterback.
And they shredded him, dude. They shredded him all game. They were cutting in and out of breaks. Like nobody even – you got Elijah Hicks playing back there, shouldn't even be back there at this point, who's like late coming over. Like even if you're not playing man on somebody, like you got the safety who can't even – doesn't know when he's supposed to get over somewhere. Like it's ugly when you're facing this type of receiving group. Like I know Beaton, like, we were talking about maybe they don't have the best receiving corps, but we knew Garrett Wilson was good. We knew some of these other guys like Elijah Moore, we'd love to see him on the Bears when there was talk about, them trading him. Like they got guys, they just haven't had anybody to be able to throw them the ball. So I don't know, man. I guess that's kind of,
their quarterback's 5'2".
He's 5'2" in the head.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the Bears have a tank roster. This is what a tank roster looks like. Injuries happen to every team. You're always going to have next man up, but in this case, next man up was a 7th round rookie named Elijah Hicks, not quality depth. I mean, this is what happens when you have a tank roster, and that's what the Bears are, whether it was on purpose or not. This roster was underwhelming on talent from the get-go. And the game plan was always going to be and still is, hey, Justin, do something.
Do you think Ryan Poles has even woken up for the day yet?
No. No shot. Why would you wake up for this game?
He's probably just rolling out of bed with a bunch of Cool Ranch Dorito crumbles all over him. He's a fucking sack of shit. Did nothing in the offseason. He's on the hot seat more than anybody I want to say. People can say what they want about Ryan Poles. You did what you did with this roster. Now in the offseason coming up, it is your job to fix it. And we as a fan base, 3 million plus strong just in the Chicagoland area and then all across the world because we're an old franchise that's been around since the inception of the fucking NFL, should not have to go through stuff like this.
That's an asinine comment, though. He's not on the hot seat.
He's on my hot seat, and that's all that matters to me. Okay,
you don't get the okay to build a tank roster if you're going to be on the hot seat after year 1.
Sack of shit. I don't like it. Trade away all our best players with the hope that we'll build it back up through free agency in the draft. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, whatever. You have this offseason and next offseason. If by next offseason, after that season, we don't have a competitor, go fucking start an insurance agency because you're clearly not an NFL GM.
Go start a
MetLife. Fields has shown you next year.
The defense is so far away, though, dude. It's so far away.
That's what I like, though. I think you can build a defense overnight a lot easier than you can in offense. Because the offense, you need the quarterback. There's a lot of ways you can build a defense to be average to above average, and there's a lot of ways you can pick and choose where you're going to spend your money, what's available in the free agent market in the draft, and the cohesiveness side of it on defense can go such a long way. I think with the hits mentality and all of that, I think that can pay dividends as long as you get a few studs on this defense. And they're picking number 2 overall. I'll be shocked if it's not Jalen Carter.
Who's the worst team right now? Is it Houston? Down. Is it Houston right now?
Yeah.
Houston's trade down. Just trade down.
Listen.
Stay in the top 5. I want to trade down into the top 5 to stay in the top 5, and then you are just like you are talking about.
So you're telling me
clean.
right now, a man that is no
I'm with
longer a man that is no longer with our team had an interception to seal a game against a team that we could be in a 1-game back situation against for the first draft pick. Polls fault. Sorry. I don't make the rules.
I missed what happened, so
That was the game that Roquan had the pick to seal it, bro. The Texans are one of our 3 wins this year, and they have 1 win. That game was essentially our Super Bowl, and if the tank is going to be as successful as we would have liked, you lose that game too. You get rid of Roquan before that game.
Yeah, you botched that one. Then you botched that one.
Nicholas Morrow or Jack Sanborn. Well, maybe Sanborn might make that.
Sanborn's making that play, dude. Give him some credit. Give the man some credit. He was all over the place again today. I mean, for the most part.
The Bears just got me loopy, man. This season is just annoying as all hell because when the highs have been high, like the scoring of the points, something we're not accustomed to as Bears fans, like 29 points a week the last 5 weeks, obviously it was going to top off. But one thing I didn't understand going into this game is our defense gave up 35.5 points a game for the last 5 weeks. And the over-under for this game was 38. That was just like...
That was real low. It was the weather, though, too, I feel like, playing into that with the backup quarterback.
The weather was stinky, I'll say. Yeah, the weather sucked.
The books had a pretty good idea that Justin Fields wasn't playing this week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm glad he didn't, because if Justin Fields went out there and got hurt, first flight to New Jersey, and I'm just waiting outside MetLife Monday morning, just like, I'd like to speak to your manager, please.
You can burn the podcast to the ground.
I'd be curious to see what Simeon's stats look like
I'm gonna
on true pass sets, which is take out screens, take out play action.
Crazy, you have to actually make the throw.
Just straight dropbacks. I'd be curious to see what his stats were, because I feel like almost every pass was either a boot or a screen, and there wasn't really much straight drop back pass game because the Bears know they can't really operate in it.
The line, man, they can't do it, and they probably don't trust Simeon to even do it. Like,
so
the reason why he's a backup,
where they minimized that, which is something we hear all the time. Roll him out more, do why isn't he rolling out more often? It's like, because you can't operate an NFL offense completely that way. You need the variation. And we saw today how much Justin Fields means to this offense. A team who's been putting up 29 points a game, like B-Don said, could only muster 10.
Yeah. Yeah, and dude, it wasn't that they didn't look explosive in the first half, but everything that we did well on the offensive side of the ball didn't escape the first quarter with us. And you get Claypool a little bit involved. Honestly, dude, I don't really hate what we've seen from the backs, regardless of who it's been. Monty had 79 yards. Darrington Evans gets called up from the practice squad, and he looked electric. But the thing that just blows my mind is how we're able to run the football so well every week. And I don't know. I know offensive linemen like run blocking more, but you would think that maybe run blocking could potentially be more difficult than pass blocking. But when it comes to pass blocking, we just have absolutely no fucking clue what to do. And in the second half of that game, the pass blocking for Simeon was absolutely pitiful. I don't know if I want to say dreadful or pitiful. We'll just say pitiful. We'll just meet right in the fucking middle. That's how bad this game was. But I don't know, man. I'm sitting here watching this game, and the second we went down 2 touchdowns, I'm like, well, that's too much. And the field goal before the end of the half in a tsunami from 72 yards out, I was like, if we can keep this at 4, keep this at a 1-possession game, and just kind of tighten up a little bit on defense, because there was points in the first half that we looked all right. Not good, because we'll never be good, but we looked all right. We were getting stops. That's how we were able to get the lead. If you don't remember, we went down 7-0, then we scored 10 unanswered, and then never again. But for one, I hate this shit for Flus, because I truly think that Flus is a good head coach. I think that Flus is the right guy for the job. And I think that when he has his guys, this will be a lot better product on the field. But a lot's laughing at me in the chat right now. Hold on, let me put it up on the screen. But this year, man, I can't look back at a year as a Bears fan and just seeing things so bleak, where it's just okay, at least since I know that we've started this podcast, every week we get up, but it's the cycle. We talk about the cycle. By Sunday, we talk ourselves into getting up and finding a way to win a football game on Sunday. And I had a couple free bets that, rest in peace. They didn't, they just didn't win. They were on the Bears. But this week, I just didn't really think that I guess I'll say in my brother's honor as a Northwestern fan, probably the biggest one in the world, with Simeon playing, I place them. But did I really think they had any chance of hitting? Absolutely not. That's not responsible. I don't condone gambling like that. But yeah, let's take a look at the schedule while we have, because I don't really have too much more to talk about unless you guys.
It's brutal. This is the toughest stretch of our schedule.
I know we still have to play the Bills and the Eagles. That'll be fun. Oh, nice. Dude, we might not win another game for the rest of the season.
No, Vikings will probably be sitting their starters week 18.
Can we beat their backups? Can we? Our backups versus their backups?
Not if Elijah
Fields is playing, sure.
Not if Jones is out there.
This game was the perfect analogy for how important Justin Fields is to this Bears team right now.
Yeah, so next week we play the Packers at home. Love our chances with Justin Fields. Don't love our chances so much without Justin Fields. And then the following – we have a bye week. We have a bye week still. Yeah. We can't lose.
Hey, there we go. So I have a thought on the Packers game. I think the Bears might push Fields to start. No matter like try to push him even if he's still pretty banged up. And I think that he wants to start. Like I think they had to sit him down today to get him to sit. But
that sounds like such a Georgia Virginia move.
Are going to want to get Virginia one win against the Packers. Like, I mean, she's 99 or something. Like, I think that they're going to want to pull out all stops against the Packers no matter what.
I hate this team so much.
It's just a theory, but
I hate the sound of that. I get what you're saying, Quentin. Like,
I just hate it.
I don't know. I don't think it's the right decision, but I think that they're going to.
Yeah, and like sentimental stuff, I understand that, but like, you're gonna put the future of this team in jeopardy because of
to go beat the drug guy,
to beat one team where it's like it doesn't really. I mean, maybe it does, but it obviously matters to them. We know that it matters to all of us. We want to beat the Packers too as fans.
Like, if they start Fields next week and they win, I'm gonna be as happy as anyone on earth because they just beat the Packers. But
someone's gonna clip that.
Same time, I know it's kind of fruitless.
No, yeah, nothing matters at this point. It's literally just wake up on Sunday, hope that our best players don't get hurt, and not only did we get our dicks absolutely dragged into the dirt, two of our best players got hurt in the process, and it's just like, was there any positives from today's game? I think not. We had a couple sightings from Byron Pringle, and Chase Claypool made himself present, but is 51 yards really what we want from Chase Claypool? You know what I'm saying? And this is coming from the Notre Dame guy, right? Like, this
he would have had more if Sauce Gardner wasn't having PI on him basically every play, but not getting it called. Like that touchdown was pass interference. Like,
do we know the snap counts?
Someone said that.
I'm curious how many snaps he actually played, because after that first quarter, he was kind of. I don't know if I saw him again. Like I think I saw him once in the red zone again, but.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much he was out there after. Yeah. Well, like what did you say? The first half, pretty much first half, he was out there.
Yeah. Here's two positives. Okay, right? These are guys that we talk about regularly on this show. Guys that are pretty much everyday guys like us, right? Just happened to play for the Bears. Any guesses on the two players that led the Bears in tackles?
Jack Sanborn, whose statue is in progress next to the lake.
15 of them bangs. 15.
I'm gonna go DHC.
You are correct, sir. You are correct. The two biggest lunch pail, most Chicago meatball guys that we have on our team, where it's just like, dude, Sanborn is making a case that he could probably play anywhere and he probably should have been drafted. But DHC, lifetime special teamer, and all he ever does when we have him come into the starting lineup is his job, and he does it well. And it's one of the most mind blowing things. But
he makes plays, dude. He makes big time plays.
He's like the next guy in a long lineage of Bears special teams guys, because we've always had one. The most recent one before him, obviously, being Sheriff McManus. But if there's one thing the Bears always do is they find that one guy that's a special teams, maybe gadget guy, and then, he can come in for 2 games and be a spot starter for you and do pretty well.
It's DeAndre. We're changed his name. So DHC, we know it's Houston Carson. It's DeAndre hard-hitting Carson.
Yeah, and he was there were some hard hits out there today. I mean,
Do y'all remember his college draft profile, DHC? It was like he's just a like a playmate. Like I don't know if I want him starting, but like every time he sees the field, it's like this dude just starts making plays. He had 10 interceptions and 9 blocked kicks in college.
where did he go?
William and Mary.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, that's why I never saw any of it.
Another situation where he probably should have
just
never been at
no
William and
matter-
Mary. Yeah.
No matter where he is, he just finds a way to like get his hands on the football, and it's incredible.
I never really feel bad about him in the game. Like
No,
he never like makes you think like, what the fuck is he doing out there? Like a Jalen Jones or like, you know, and that's what makes you wonder, like, why hasn't he gotten more playing time? I guess, you know, he's maybe not as consistent or like as some of these other guys, you know, or as talented, you know, he's just kind of like beat on like a lunch pail dude.
I think most of the times where someone's gone down and it's like he has to step in, it's like he starts off strong and then teams start exposing something on him. So it's like he's more of like a rotational guy who can make some plays for you than a guy who's going to be out there every snap, like as the starting role as a center fielder, probably, because I don't think he's big and powerful enough to play a box role.
A lot said that Armon Watts had a sack. Yes, that was a monumental moment. 3 months into the season,
I'm still shocked by that.
And then
that was the defensive line's first sack in like 5 games, I think. Or something.
And you have to remember,
it's impossible for this team to get.
We were towards the top of the league at the beginning of the season in sacks.
Well, we were, but I'm not sure how many of those were from D linemen. It's it's from like blitzing backers, a lot of their sacks.
Yeah, but all right. So you talked draft at the beginning of the show, right? So we watch a lot of college football, 3 of us. The college football season is winding down. One player that you've seen maybe over the weekend or over the season that you absolutely want to see in the Bears uniform next week. Or not next. Well, maybe it'd be good if they're in the uniform next week, but next season.
That'd be ideal. Let's get them for next
just
week.
Fucking send them right to Hallis Hall. Don't even play in your bowl game.
You don't even need training camp, my friend. Just step right up.
Yeah. So say a school position player and just a little bit about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of tough to say because I don't know where exactly they're going to be drafted, because I feel like if they're going to be up in that top, like, echelon 1, 2, whatever pick they're going to get, which it looks like right now, the second pick, I believe, after this loss, I don't really know if I want them staying there, so I'd like them to kind of move back. I know, Quentin, you said maybe like the 5th pick, move back to stay in that top 5. I mean, obviously Jalen Carter or Will Anderson from Bama, like those 2 guys, one of those 2 guys would be ideal because this defense needs so much help like up front, and they need either an edge rusher or somebody just like a 3-tech in there or in the center. So I kind of want one of those dudes, but like at the same time, I told you on the preview show, B-Don, I said, let's do like some Madden shit. Just start trading down, like do like 2 trade downs and like let's collect.
Sit at like 15, go to 15 or something.
Go to like 15 and just get like a million picks. And so I don't really care. Just get playmakers, man. Like I like the lineman from Northwestern too, the tackle.
Pete Skoronski.
Skoronski.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
Yeah, ideally, I mean, 2018, the Colts traded down from, I think it was number 2 overall to number 5, and they got extra picks. They were able to build the roster out with. You got Quentin Nelson at 5. For me, I want to see that. That is the perfect situation, because once you exit the top 5, maybe the top 10, but really top 5, it feels like is where that's the elite of the elite talent. You know, it's really hard for me to pass up on one of those players. But if you can trade down still within the top 5 and get Jalen Carter from Georgia, I'll be ecstatic. Interior defensive lineman, 3 technique. Best fit is going to be in a 1-gapping role, which is what this defense is. Can play all across the D line, any of the positions on it. He's played them all at Georgia. He hasn't played a lot this year. He only plays like on 3rd downs or something right this season. I think it's just the only reason he's just trying to save himself from injuries for the NFL. But like he played more of a role last year, I believe, with just explosive first step, gonna get penetration initially off that first step as a one gap defensive lineman. He'd be a perfect fit for that 3 technique in this system, from what I've read so far. And I haven't dug too much into draft prospects yet, but he's screaming a fit for this defense. And you add him, a free agent somewhere else on that D line, suddenly you're talking on defense, you know?
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. Jalen Carter, obviously with Georgia, if Sam Mustipher was still on Notre Dame, Sam Mustipher, when they played Notre Dame and Georgia, if they played, he would get destroyed every single time, and it wouldn't
His
even
first
be close.
step is so explosive.
Leave Sam Mustipher out of this. Friendly fire, okay?
I just want to take shots at Mustipher almost every time.
Jag off. So, I mean, this should go as no surprise. There's one answer and one answer only. Michael Mayer. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, he would be a great pick.
If they trade down and somehow end up with 2 first-round picks, which is possible when you got teams like the Lions this year, or Seattle, who has 2 first-round picks, and could be looking. I mean, probably not Seattle, but there's another team, I forget who it is, who has 2 first-round picks that could be looking to move up for a quarterback. You could suddenly be talking. You have, number 6 and number 15 or 20 or something.
Is it Houston?
Then, so my realistic one is I want to see one of these 2 guys, and that's Jordan Addison from USC, receiver. I know they just beat us last night. Terrible game as well. And then I really like the kid from TCU, Quentin Johnson.
Yes.
Those aren't going to be
He's got
guys.
a great first name.
Yeah, yeah, he does. But those aren't going to be guys that you take at 2. Those are probably like middle first round guys. So you may need a little bit of strategy with trading back and stuff to get those guys. But I think that, if we're drafting in the top 5, we're drafting someone that weighs over 300 pounds, whether it's on offense or defense. That's
the other.
That's my
other guy.
Show.
I love the idea of is Jackson Smith-Njigba.
Yeah,
and I was earlier in the year. I was more skeptical on whether I wanted him because it's just him plus Mooney seemed like you were really lacking some size, and he's more of a slot receiver. But
that's why I
now
like the other 2 guys.
You got Claypool now. Suddenly, I'm much more open to the idea of Jackson Smith-Njigba because Claypool fits that, that traditional X role receiver, and you can go after a slot guy at that point because you have him already.
Yeah, and I think that it's going to be honestly probably our busiest draft season that we've had because there are so many picks. The roster is going to turn over again. There's going to be a lot of new players, but NFL.
You know how messed up this is? We're in week 12.
No, that's what I was just about to say. Say what you need to say, and then let me say what, because you literally cut me off when I was about to say.
Yeah, that's my bad. But it kind of starts bubbling up here as we're talking about this draft stuff because we're in week 12. That's how disgusting this game was.
Dude, Thanksgiving was this week.
We're
supposed to be on the graphic. We're supposed to be on the goddamn graphic, and we're not.
And we're talking about which players we want the Bears to draft in week 12. Yeah. I'm happy that we're going into this discussion because I love talking about the draft player, like the players that are coming in. But man, it's depressing. That's how depressing today was. It felt like an obligation watching this game and doing this podcast. Now we're actually having some fun. But
we're always gonna have some fun on the show. But so what I was trying to say is, man, Ryan Poles, NFL, the Chicago Bears. You're talking about a kid. We could be down 3 touchdowns with 3 minutes left, and I'm up, rally cat, hands on my knees in the coaching stance, bro. I don't even have no goddamn emotion watching these games anymore. I was getting a little excited in the first half because we were making some plays. Guys were doing some things on offense, and defensively they were also making a couple plays. But in my entire life, I can go out and say this definitively that this is just the most pointless, and I guess you would say by definition, insanity of a season, right? It's insane. The definition of insanity is, I always mess this up when I bring it up, but it's you do the same thing expecting a different result. We get on our couch, we get ready for another game every fucking Sunday, and every Sunday this team does the same thing for 3 hours, and we're supposed to put lipstick on a pig after it,
and I'm just done with it. We suck. We are not a good football team. Someone will probably clip this as like my rant. I think this is a very mellow mannered rant for me. But yeah, it's just like we got 5 games left. Please, dear God, nobody else get hurt. Shut down Eddie Jackson. Shut down Darnell Mooney. Shut down Justin Fields. And just play the backups at this point because nothing matters. We're going to lose every game anyway. So why even risk anything else for the rest of the season?
Yeah, you do the same. You literally yourself do the same thing every game with the shortstop pose, the hands on my knees, hands on my knees.
I'm up for 3rds and 4th downs, dude. Like I live and die with every snap for all my teams. And NIU was so bad they had to put out a goddamn press release about how bad they were. The Bears are leaning towards that level of stink, and I'm actually, I said it on Irish on Tap, I'm as proud of any Notre Dame team that I have been throughout my entire life. And then they played the game they played last night. So that statement might have to be pulled off the internet. But love football to death. We're going to be here no matter what happens week in and week out. We'll be back in the middle of the week. We'll be back on Wednesdays too. Obviously a weird week with the holidays, but action is over. We'll go back to our regularly scheduled day. But boys, do you have any final thoughts before we close out arguably the stinkiest loss of this season?
Q?
Yeah. Just it's trending towards something I said before the season. 2004 Lovie Smith Bears team finished 5-11. What number 4 overall pick? Very next year, turned it all around. I mean, that is the goal. And this time around, you have a quarterback who you believe in.
That is the super optimistic way of looking at it, Q. And I cannot blame you for looking at it that way. Obviously, we have the quarterback we've never had, so I feel good about that. Bruce Alvino in the comments here, this team is bad, but no way worse than the teams I watched in the 70s when they were terrible and there was no hope.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate you, man. I think you're right, though. Like, you know, like
he made the show.
Yeah, because we were around in the 70s, so there was no hope for us as fans in the 70s. But there is hope.
That comment actually reminds me of something. I was back home last week, and comment my dad had about watching Justin Fields, and he was saying it feels like the 70s when I was watching Walter Payton. It was just Walter left, Walter right, Walter can you try to throw a pass this time? Hey, Walter, you got to punt the football, you know, like, and that I thought that was the perfect analogy. Like,
ugly, man.
Walter Payton was everything to the 70s Bears, the late 70s. And like, they couldn't do anything, but he was electric, you know, and that's kind of where the Bears are at right now too. I just hope they can get to 85 a little faster than they did for Walter.
Yeah.
Basically, Quentin just called Justin Fields Walter Payton, but as a quarterback. That's what just happened.
I'll live with it. I'll allow it.
I mean, there's no more real hope for anything. I don't even know what I'm tuning in for every week. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to see Fields do better. Obviously, we have to do the show, so if I don't watch the game, then I would just be like the worst podcaster ever. But like, I don't know what I want to see because of how much, like we've talked about for many weeks now, how much this is just going to be a different group of guys next year too. So just continue to shout out Bruce, continue to keep the faith that we're not as bad as we were in the 70s. But the team right now is terrible. I truly can sit here and say I don't know if we'll win another game this season. And win, lose, or draw, I'd take a tie. Dude, I would love a tie. And this is after Team USA.
So sick of the World Cup, dude.
Just tied twice in the World Cup, dude. I would kill for a Bears tie because we just didn't lose that week. But
I can't wait till we can stop pretending that that's a real freaking sport.
Oh my God, shut up, dude. Shut up. They have to beat Iran on Tuesday. That's a big game. But yeah, this was a little bit, we got a little bit off the rails, but rightfully so. We always talk about in a big blowout game, there's not too much that you can take away on either side when you win like this. There is literally nothing that I can take away from this game and think positively about. It is what it is. But like I said, we'll be back with you guys Wednesday night to discuss the Packers, which is, no matter what, it's a rivalry game. You still got to get up for those. As Quentin put his tinfoil hat on, he does believe that we're going to get Fields. I really hope we don't. But if we do, I think it gives us a lot better chance to win. We'll be back to you guys in the middle of the week to get you guys ready for hopefully a Bears win or tie, a little Bears double chance action. Just hopefully we don't lose. But you can follow Joey at Joey Knows Nothing. You can follow Quentin at Butkus Stats, and you can follow me at BeatOn300. My account is locked right now, so that's why I wasn't tweeting during the games. Don't know what happened. Got hacked. Terrible, terrible day.
Pissed Elon off.
Yeah, but I mean, so yeah, I just had to sit on that entire game with my thoughts. So I couldn't wait to get on the mic and discuss everything that was going on. But don't forget, most importantly, throw the main account to follow at Bears on Tap. Articles and stuff coming out all throughout the week with all the news and speculative pieces. But really do appreciate you for tuning into this week's show. The Bears dropped this one 31-10 at MetLife Stadium, in which we lost Darnell Mooney and Eddie Jackson in the process of it. But like I said, we'll be back with you guys midweek, Wednesday night, to get you ready for Packer week. We got nothing else for you guys, and bear down.
Moose Johnston sucks. Bear down.
Bear down.
MetLife sucks too.